Rain hammered the 8th-floor hallway as two patrol officers stood outside room 814 of the Harrogate Business Hotel. The night manager kept repeating the same sentence. The television was still on inside. At 2:17 a.m., guests nearby reported hearing something heavy strike the floor, followed by silence. Security called the room twice. No answer. Officers could hear the television through the walls, and a strip of light glowed beneath the door. The deadbolt indicator showed locked. Hotel records showed the room belonged to 34-year-old financial consultant Daniel Mercer, who had checked in alone after attending a corporate conference downtown. Surveillance cameras captured him entering the elevator at 8:42 p.m., carrying a laptop bag, an overnight case. No footage showed him leaving. The hotel manager used an emergency override key card, but the door only opened half an inch before stopping against the interior chain latch. At 2:31 a.m., officers forced entry. The chain snapped. The door burst open. The room was empty. The television flickered across untouched furniture. Mercer's suitcase sat open beside the bed. His shoes were neatly aligned near the heater. His phone rested charging on the nightstand. Steam still clung faintly to the bathroom mirror, suggesting someone had showered shortly before officers arrived. But Daniel Mercer was gone. No signs of struggle. No broken window. No balcony. No second exit. And the room had been locked from the inside. What began as a routine welfare check soon became one of Chicago's strangest locked room investigations. The Harrogate's 8th floor was monitored by 2 hallway security cameras. Stairwell access required key cards after 10 p.m., and room 814 had only one door and one sealed window restricted from opening fully. Detectives processed the room the next morning. Mercer's laptop remained powered on with an unfinished email draft open on screen. Damp towels hung in the bathroom. A coffee cup sat near the sink. Inside the trash, investigators found packaging from sleep medication purchased earlier that night. No blood traces were discovered, and fingerprints belonged only to Mercer and hotel staff. The chain lock became the center of the mystery. Investigators pulled the electronic keycard logs. According to the system, Mercer's keycard opened the room at 8:43 p.m., and the door never opened again before police forced entry hours later. Detectives reviewed hallway surveillance footage frame by frame. No one entered room 814 after Mercer. No one exited. At 1:52 a.m., one camera briefly captured a shadow moving beneath the door. Then, at 2:17 a.m., neighbors heard the loud impact. During a second inspection, forensic technicians discovered scratches around a maintenance panel hidden behind the bathroom mirror. Behind it sat a narrow utility shaft running between floors. Investigators briefly believed Mercer escaped through it, but tests proved otherwise. The shaft was too narrow, and no evidence suggested recent passage. Then forensic technician Lena Ortiz noticed something unusual in photographs of the broken chain latch. Under magnification, she discovered tiny nylon fibers trapped inside the hardware. Fishing line. Investigators recreated the mechanism in a test room. By threading transparent fishing line through the chain bracket before shutting the door, someone standing outside could slowly pull the chain into place after exiting. The impossible room was suddenly possible. Detectives returned to surveillance footage with a new theory. At 8:49 p.m., just minutes after Mercer entered the room, a housekeeping cart briefly blocked one hallway camera. The individual pushing it wore maintenance clothing and a baseball cap pulled low over the face. No employee matched the description. Another clue appeared in the stairwell logs. At 9:03 p.m., a fire exit opened on the 6th floor, but no alarm sounded because maintenance mode had been activated earlier that week. The camera covering that exit had malfunctioned the same evening. Investigators soon uncovered Mercer's financial records. Over 6 months, he had transferred nearly $240,000 through shell vendors tied to fraudulent accounts. The conference trip now appeared to be preparation for escape, not business travel. Phone records connected Mercer to Elias Vane, a former security systems contractor who once worked on renovations at the Harrogate Hotel. Vane understood the building's surveillance blind spots and emergency systems. Detectives reconstructed the escape. Mercer entered room 814 at 8:43 p.m. minutes later. Vane arrived disguised as hotel maintenance, pushing a service cart. Inside the room, Mercer changed clothes and packed essentials into hidden compartments within the cart. They left together while the cart briefly blocked the hallway camera. Before leaving, they staged the room carefully. The television remained on. Hot water filled the bathroom with steam. Mercer's phone stayed charging beside the bed. An unfinished email draft created the illusion of interrupted routine. Then came the final deception. Using transparent fishing line threaded through the chain mechanism beforehand, one of the men slowly pulled the latch into place from outside the room. The line was then removed beneath the door gap, leaving the room apparently sealed from inside. The loud impact heard hours later came from a timed distraction. Mercer had suspended a weighted object that later dropped on the bathroom floor, creating the noise that triggered concern long after he escaped the city. By the time officers forced open room 814, Mercer and Vane were already gone. Surveillance from Chicago Union Station later captured Mercer wearing glasses, a shaved beard, and maintenance coveralls beside Elias Vane, and the same service cart seen in hotel footage. Both men fled toward Canada, using forged identification. Authorities arrested Vane near Windsor, Ontario. Mercer was captured 2 weeks later inside a remote cabin carrying cash, fake passports, and encrypted financial records. Investigators later admitted the case disturbed them because the deception was simple. It relied entirely on ordinary assumptions. People trust sealed spaces. A locked door feels definitive. But the room itself had never been proof of containment. It had only been part of performance. The door had been locked from the inside. The room had been sealed, but the truth had already left.